if I go and ride motocross for a weekend or do 2 days in a row, my whole back from top to bottom is aching. There's something worked. You can feel it. And I really wanted people to see that.
Did they say much about the heart rate side of things? Because that one to me has always been puzzling. Like, I've obviously dabbled in lots of different sports here and there, and I can never, ever, once ever replicate anything within like 20% of my motocross heart rate for 30 minutes.
So you can't replicate heart rate. So I've actually done significant heart rate training, and this is actually something I was going to bring up with you before anyway. I went to the page of like the top 3 or 4 motocross coaches right now.
Yep.
When I say the top, they're probably not the only ones, and everyone listening will probably say, oh, I've never even heard, that's not, these are just guys that come up in my feed all the time. They're quite big, they've got a decent following. One of them stated that heart rate training was only used as a recovery tool, and if you are doing it solely off performance for heart rate, then you're an idiot. And it went through to say that it was kind of like a Rhino thing where it's a bit controversial, like you're an absolute idiot. I don't know where that comes from, because heart rate training is like, knowing your heart rate zones and knowing is so much more efficiency. So that's the difference between guessing if I'm at a good level or knowing that you're at a good level. If you want to be the best in the country, guessing that's guesswork. Whereas knowing would be, that's important. You need to know. So heart rate and heart rate training is very important. You cannot replicate heart rate training. I had my heart rate at, I think it was it was like mid 170s on the start line at Glen Helen before my event was even ready. Like the other race had gone. So as I'm sure most motocross events all around the world are the same. At Glen Helen, there are so many different classes, so many different people. So one will go off the gate, the next one's in. By the time they're around the first corner, you're in the chute ready to go.
Yep.
You got like 20 minutes. And my heart rate was like 170. Mainly because the Canadian dude next to me was just like, when we're thinking world vets, this dude had a full rig belt, his mechanic was there, they were screaming, fist pumping, slapping helmets, telling everyone like he's going to get him in the first corner and he's going to, this is me, this is my time. My heart rate was through the roof. I can't replicate that for that duration. I don't even know, I haven't even looked at my watch to see what it was during the event.
Yep.
But that's not something that you go out and train in the gym. If you want to get a high heart rate, go for a run.
Yep.
It'll get there. If you want to keep it for a certain amount of time, go running further. You will get it through running. But heart rate training isn't really what people see it as. They think heart rate training is like, that's the value. That's not the value. You need to get blood flow through your body as most efficiently as you can. So then you would work on a 7-day cycle, and you need to make sure that over 7 days you increase your blood flow by whatever percent. Using your heart rate, because your heart rate is the pumping valve that circulates the blood and the oxygen.
Yep.
So that's your conditioning, you're working, and that's how you would gain your volume in your program to try and get your body used to pumping more blood. To get fitter and to be better at motocross, I think you need to have fresh oxygen flowing through your body as much as you possibly can. You can only get that with a lot of work. Mm-hmm. You can't do sedentary movements, pumping weights in the gym, and then expect on the weekend all of this blood flow all of a sudden to just work in your body. It just doesn't work. So heart rate and heart rate training is a great way to keep track of it, to gauge it, and to know where you're at. Am I better this week? Am I worse? And what am I doing?
Yeah, for sure. It sets a scoreboard for your training. Yeah. Basically, so you're not just shooting in the dark, which some motocrossers are will tend to just shoot in the dark, and I feel better, so it must be better, which is always a little bit up for debate. I actually was listening to something with Ken Roxon the other day, and he said his only training metric that he measures is his heart. Yep. So he doesn't really do anything else. He goes off feeling and his heart rates, which I thought was something interesting. And I'm just theorising here because I haven't actually read in detail the study that says motocross is, whether it's got its second or third most physically demanding, but it just makes me think of it is that no other sport can replicate that high heart rate
I don't know how...
For 30 minutes, 35 minutes straight?
No, I don't even know how to believe that. And I can show you the writing and the data on it. I can show you my...
That no other sport can do that?
No, it's not even a sport. An activity can do it.
Another activity. So you can hold in heart rate, because I would never ever had an average under 190 for a moto, and I know a lot of guys are the same as that, and that's for 35 minutes.
I know it's a big thing, but I would be prepared to do this at any given time. If you said after this interview, I want you to have, let's be honest, most people's heart rate in motocross, although they say it's in the 190s, 200s, depends. Fear comes in. If you nick someone's back wheel, it's pretty high. But I have gone to Chesney Vale before and ridden as hard as I can, or I've gone to Albury and ridden as hard as I can for 20 minutes. not a world champion, not the best in the world at motocross, my heart rate sat around 140 to 170.
Yep.
Consistently for 20 minutes. That's not under race pressure. That's just me riding with my mates and whatever.
Yep.
I reckon I can have my heart rate at between 150 to 170 for an hour.
Mm.
I know this because I've done it about 1,000 times over.
I could do that on a cycle as well when I would train, for sure. But then again, yeah, like any time I ever race, I maybe measured my heart rate at least 500 times through motos.
Yep.
Never ever once under 190. The average would be like 195, 198, and my max would be like a 202.
Yeah.
So it would be held down. And if I was doing a practice moto, I'd sit in like the low 190s, maybe high 180s if I wasn't having a go. And then if I'm just riding, trail riding, whatever, as you just mentioned, it'd be the 160s to 180s, so to speak. So